What is up, everybody? This is Glover Quinn. We are here on the Believe in Lines podcast. And today, I'm going to be doing a solo show. So this is going to be a lot of fun. But before we get into it, obviously, we need to thank our sponsors. Bet Online is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting. From earliest odds to in-game live betting, Bet Online provides you with all the action and the ability to watch the games as they happen. With the largest selection of odds on everything from football, NBA, college basketball, NHL, to UFC and MMA, head to BetOnline today to get in on the action with America's most trusted site for online wagering. BetOnline, the game starts here. Right. So now we're going to get into the podcast because obviously the Lions are rolling right now. The Lions are 9-1 coming off of a huge dominating performance against the Jacksonville Jaguars. I don't know if I've ever seen a game like that. I wasn't there, but I was just watching it live. I don't know if I've ever seen that where the offense literally scored every time they got the ball. Jacksonville was never in the game outside of maybe the first 3 plays of the game when I think they got a first down and a couple of completions. Never felt like Jacksonville had a chance in that game. And the Lions came out and played exactly how they needed to play. They were the favorite. They were at home. They needed to come out and show a championship caliber performance against a team like that. Don't stoop down to their level. Play the way that you are supposed to play, which is championship caliber football. And like I said last week, the Lions are basically playing against themselves every week because I don't think there's a team out there right now that could beat the Lions. I think they're head and foot over every team that I've seen. Now, yes, they lost to Tampa Bay, but I think that was only because they got in their own way. They didn't run the ball. They didn't do the things that they have been doing to win. And on this long streak of winning that they've been doing that, playing great defense, running the ball, playing like a championship caliber team. They had the one bad game. Jared Goff had one bad game in Houston, and they still found a way to win. So this team right now, I mean, they're amazing. They get national attention. Everybody's talking about them. Super Bowl, the odds is everything is going exactly the way all of the Lions fans will want it to be. Okay, so let's just hope that the Lions can continue on that trend because this week they're playing against another team right now, the 5-6 Colts. That, I mean, they're kind of in a little turmoil as well, right? They had Anthony Richardson starting. He ends up tapping out on a play during a game. They pull him the next week. They start Joe Flacco. So they bench their first round draft pick. Then Joe Flacco goes out and obviously doesn't get the job done. They go back to Anthony Richardson. Now Anthony Richardson is the starter going forward. They beat a Jets team last week, barely. You know, once again, the Lions are playing against a team that they should dominate. They should dominate this team. Obviously, Anthony Richardson is a dangerous guy. He can run the ball, but the Lions have been pretty good against scrambling quarterbacks and almost anybody this whole entire year. They've been really good, right? And so, you know, they had the huge acquisition last week that got a lot of national pub. Like I say, the Lions are getting a lot of national attention right now. That's one thing that we've always fought for in Detroit, and they are getting it. And last week, they had the debut of a huge trade. Za'Darius Smith came over from the Cleveland Browns. First week, Dan Campbell gives him the week off. Take care of your family. Get you a bye week. Get you a little break. Everything is kind of spinning, going fast right now. Give you a little time to get acclimated to what we're doing here in Detroit. And he came out last week. He was excited. The city was excited. He showed up in the Rasheed Wallace Detroit Pistons jersey, man. And if everybody remembers, Rasheed Wallace was traded to the Pistons midseason. They go and win the NBA championship. And so hopefully Za'Darius Smith is bringing that positive bad boy energy, right, to the Detroit Lions, because that's exactly how they're playing, guys. They're playing like a bunch of bad guys. They are not making friends with anybody. They got a chip on their shoulder, and they're not playing around with anybody. They're going into every game trying to dominate every opponent. Dan Campbell is calling an aggressive game. They are not letting up. If they can win every game the way they beat the Jacksonville Jaguars, they'll do it. They will do it. And that's the type of attitude, that's the type of mentality. And it's good to see Za'Darius Smith come right on in, fit right into the mold of what we're doing here in Detroit. And, he came in, he had a big sack last week. He already had celebrations playing with other teammates. So that right there was a great sign for the Detroit Lions, right? Great sign. And so the thing that worries me going into this game, obviously you played a great game. Everybody's riding high. And now you got another bad team that you're playing that has, weapons, I guess. Obviously, they have some talent. It's the NFL, so you can't ever take anybody lightly. But then you're starting to get into distractions, right? Distractions, national attention. So I'm pretty sure the guys are getting a lot of media obligations. Everybody want to talk to them. I've reached out to several guys to come on the podcast, right? So I know if I'm reaching out, there's other people reaching out, wanting to get those guys because they're the hottest team in football. They want to talk to you guys. They want to see, what are you guys doing? How you guys doing? All this good stuff, right? So distractions started to come into play. It's holiday season. The Lions always play the Thanksgiving Day game. So obviously next week is Thanksgiving. So we're going on the road to Indy, got a quick turnaround with a division game against the Chicago Bears, I think it is, on Thanksgiving Day. So we can't look past the Indianapolis Colts thinking about the turkey and how exciting it's going to be in Detroit. I think there were some fans calling and saying, in the past about the Lions, they're tired of seeing them on Thanksgiving. Now everybody wants to watch the Lions on Thanksgiving. So you're going to get to wake up early Thanksgiving morning and see a great football game. But those are all distractions. Those are all the things that kind of get in your brain, kind of get in your mind, and helps you lose a little focus on the task at hand. And that is the Indianapolis Colts, right? That's the Indianapolis Colts. So that's one thing that worries me. It's one thing that worries me. Another thing that worries me is a lot of times when you're getting a lot of people talking about how great you are, you can really see if a team is mature. You can really see if a team is a championship team ready to win. If they just continue to keep their head down and grind it out the way that they've been doing it. Don't start listening to the national media. Don't start listening to the pub and the hype of the fans and everybody else. Just stay the course and take it step by step, game by game, day by day. Those are really the only two things right now this week that's concerning to me. Obviously, the holidays coming up. And so when you got a quick turnaround like that, you kind of want to get out. Actually, the game that they played last week against the Jacksonville Jaguars is the type of game that they want to have this week so that you can get some of those starters out so they can start resting, recovering, getting ready for the quick turnaround against the Chicago Bears. You don't want to come out and play sloppy to this game, and now you're in an overtime game or nail biter where everybody has to be pedal to the metal for the full game, because then you got to travel back and get ready for a quick turnaround. So I'll be interested to see how they're going to come out, how aggressive they're going to be, how they're going to try to play this game. I'm sure they're going to try to come out like last week and be really aggressive, put points up on the board, and try to put the game out of reach early. But it don't always happen like that. So I'll be interested to see how that happens. And like I said, the Lions are playing against themselves. If they go out and play their game, I don't think there's anybody that can beat them. But there's a couple cool things that are happening. I see every time I get on social media, I follow the Lions. If you're not following the Lions social media, follow the Lions social media. Follow us on social media, Believe in Lines Podcast, the Believe Network. Follow us. But every time I get on the Lions social media, I see all these different records. They haven't done this since 1934, and they haven't done this since this or that. All these amazing stats. And, it actually kind of feels cool to be a part of some of the stats, right? Pretty cool. Kirby Joseph is having an incredible season. Brian Branch is having an incredible season. Those two guys are by far right now probably the top safety tandem in the NFL right now. They're all over the field. Brian Branch. I saw something where they going with the I know the running backs got, Sonic and Knuckles. And I think I saw something where the two safeties had snatch and grab. Was it snatch and grab? Something like that. Kirby Joseph and Brian Branch. But Brian Branch, playing phenomenal. Kirby Joseph's turning the ball over each and every game. I'm literally watching the game, and every time the ball goes up down the field, I'm like, oh, this is going to be a pick. One of those guys are going to make a play. They're all over the field. And Kirby Joseph has 7 picks right now. He's 1 pick away, guys. He's 1 pick away from probably setting another record. Well, not really a record, but it may be a social media clip that says Kirby Joseph now has 8 interceptions. Because I think last week I saw one where it said there hasn't been a Lions safety to have 7 interceptions in a season since yours truly, me. So yes, Kirby Joseph is 1 pick away from passing my 2014 number of 7, get 8. So let's all be rooting for that to happen. Hey guys, I'm not a hater. I'm not here to hate. I want to see him break the record. I want to see those guys go on and do big things. I've had my time. I'm interested to see, can he go out and get it, or will he get it on Thanksgiving? It will happen at some point. Everybody tune in to watch it. And then amon-ra St. Brown, he's been scoring touchdowns every game, I think, since the second week of the season. I think he's on 8 straight games of scoring a touchdown. I don't want to jinx these guys, but these are just things that are happening. And when you're playing well, you're doing good things happen. Stats happen. Records happen. All this stuff happens as a result of playing well. And so amon-ra St. Brown, he's been scoring touchdowns every week. That's a credit to Jared Goff, credit to Ben Johnson, putting him in great situations, and he's been capitalizing. It's almost like every time you throw him the ball, it's a complete pass, right? Just a complete pass. So let's keep an eye on those two things. Can we get Kirby Joseph 1 pick? Come on, Anthony Richardson. And can we get amon-ra St. Brown in the end zone for the 9th straight game? I think it'll be 9 coming up. Right. So outside of that, I saw another one where I think Amon, Jameer, David Montgomery, all those guys been scoring touchdowns in consecutive games. It's so many different records. I can't keep up with them all, but all that goes to show you that the Lions are playing phenomenal right now. And your Lions are the favorites right now, and they got to keep that up. The football gods came to visit us a little bit last week. We lost Alex Anzalone, a very good defensive player for us, linebacker, leader in the middle of that field of defense. So it'll be interesting to see. They got Malcolm Rodriguez that came back last week. So we lost one, we gained one. It'll be a loss. But I think they'll have some guys. Jack Campbell's been playing well that can carry the slack in the middle. The secondary has been playing great. The D-line has been playing great. It's just been a great time. And so that kind of scares me a little bit, just because I know it's hard to play great 18 weeks out of the season. But they're doing it. They're playing determined. They're playing with a chip on their shoulder. And let's just hope that continues this week in Indianapolis against the Indianapolis Colts. So tune in Sunday. I think it's a noon game. The Indianapolis Colts 5-6, trying to defend their home turf against a hot, charging 9-1 Detroit Lions football team. That's about all I have for you guys today. Okay, let's keep an eye on Kirby Joseph, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and let's see if the Lions can have another big victory and get ahead early in this game so that we can pull some guys, get rested up for the Thanksgiving Day game. And with that being said, this has been an episode of Believe in Lions podcast. This was a solo episode. So, hey, if we're going to do some of these solo episodes, you guys send in some questions so I can answer these questions for you guys. Did a great episode last week with Bucky Brooks from Jacksonville. Talked about a lot of great things. Go check out that episode. This is going to be a great thing. I want to connect with you guys, answer your questions, give you my takes on the Lions and the success that they're having and the things that I see from a former player in that organization. So go follow us on all the socials. Check us out on anywhere you listen to your podcast and send in your questions. I'll get them answered for you guys here on the Believe in Lions podcast. And until next time, peace.